Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Many Faces of Cancer podcast. I am your host, Melissa Grosboll, and joining me today is Steve Hentzen. And Steve is the chairman and co-founder of the Prostate Network and a 15-year prostate cancer survivor. Steve is a passionate advocate for cancer patients, serving on the ASCO Genitourinary Cancer Guideline Advisory Group and co-chairing the Kansas Cancer Partnership Survivorship Work Group. He also leads the Prostate Cancer Working Group for the Missouri Cancer Consortium and contributes his expertise through advisory roles at the University of Kansas Cancer Center. In recognition of his dedication, Steve was honored with the Harry Pinchot Award by the Prostate Cancer Research Institute. So welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you so much. Wow, that is quite the list of achievements and things that you're doing.
My favorite one is me and my buddy started the Prostate Network. I just realized that was missing from what I gave you there.
Well, it said that you're chairman and co-founder of the Prostate Network. Yes, that was the first thing. And obviously from all of this stuff, you are in the Kansas City area.
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised, yeah. Wow. All right, are you a diehard Chiefs fan?
Yes, and I'm a little still defeated from those Eagles.
Well, I don't know. I live in Denver, so we're not all that thrilled with the Chiefs over here.
Yeah. Most of my friends from college are all in Colorado, and so we've had a lot of fun over the years. So I always wear my Chiefs gear whenever I go out to Colorado and get your slopes.
Well, I will say I am actually not a Broncos fan. I am a Cowboys fan. So I didn't really like either team in the Super Bowl this year because I am a diehard Eagles hater.
Oh, I'm sure they love your Cowboys gear out there.
But it's better than Raiders or Chiefs gear if we wear it. So,
but they're very nice. I've been doing it all my life wearing Chiefs gear and I've never had anything but ribbing, all in good natured.
It's all in good fun. And hopefully it should always be that way.
We pride ourselves on that here in Kansas City.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Steve, so Steve and I met, well, we didn't actually meet. We were both at the same conference a few weeks ago, and I got to hear your presentation, and I was so excited to hear all about your survivorship and everything that you're doing that I wanted to get you on the show and share it with my listeners. So why don't you take us back to, 15 years ago? How were you diagnosed? What was going on in your life when you were diagnosed? Can you kind of share that story with us?
Yeah, so I was just cruising through life, single dad. Health was never a factor for me. I didn't know what a prostate was. I didn't know what a gym was for the most part. I didn't exercise. I smoked. I did everything wrong. And I share my story because I don't want people to be like me. So I was a smoker, overweight, didn't go and get my physicals. But thankfully, because of a rule, a Boy Scout camp rule, I'm here. And the rule was if you were to go to Boy Scout camp, the big 10-day one, if you were to go in, you have to have a health form. Every child and adult has to have a health form signed. And it was my third year, I believe it was, trying to get my health form signed, and my doctor smartly said, "No, I will not sign it. I have not seen you." And he did this.
Oh, so you were just going and finding a doctor to sign off on it without actually getting anything checked?
Well, no, he had been my doctor for a while, but I just hadn't been good about, the only time I went to see him was when something hurt. I didn't go.
Gotcha.
And I didn't listen to him either, but this time I did because he did his thing, signed the form, and said, "Have a good time at camp," and then proceeded to call me on Saturday when I was sitting by my pool and said, "Oh no," and he knew something was seriously wrong based upon the blood test he had done, and it started. So he didn't really tell me, but he knew, and then it started me down this path to, do you have cancer? And the answer was yes, in an aggressive form at a young age.
Yeah, because normally they say prostate cancer, if you're going to get cancer, it's one of the best ones to get because it's usually pretty slow growing.
So So yes, that's true. If you catch it early, um,
Okay.
it's very curable. We almost have 100% survival rates if it's caught early, and it's not real aggressive. I can't tell you if there's a real pattern on whether it's aggressive or not, um, but some of them are, some of them aren't. Now, I had one that was, and I wasn't given a whole lot of hope, and it was terrifying.
Wow. So were you like stage 3, stage 4, like down the
It
road,
was
or?
we have a thing called PSA and a Gleason score, our two numbers. Um, that was 15
Mhm.
years ago, so we have a lot more today. But back then, you had a PSA, and mine was like kind of triple the normal number. It was extremely high. It was like a 20. And then my Gleason is like a 0 to 10 score, and I was a 9. And
Wow.
so the 9 is not what you want. So like the 6 is maybe, so back then there was nobody was getting active surveillance. So that was like a 6. 7 was kind of the common range, but I had a 9. And so and I didn't know what it was. And then on top of it, um, so I did clean myself up, and as far as the diet and exercise, and I want to tell you about that. But I did have a tough journey ahead. I was really scared. I didn't think I was going to make it.
And you said you were diagnosed fairly young
46
too.
years old.
Wow, that is very
Yeah,
young for prostate
yeah,
cancer. But here we are 15 years
yeah.
later.
And so thankfully, a cancer exercise specialist happened to enter my world. I'm so grateful for it. And she told me that if you did X, Y, and Z, then your chances of survival and chances of reoccurrence go down. And I took note, and I did them like immediately. I remember quitting the smoking was like it was oddly easy after all those years because I was so motivated. I wanted to live. But then the exercise stuff, so I did them, and I remember reaching out to her saying, "Hey, I did them," and she goes, "That's step 1." And kept helping me and encouraging me because I didn't know what I was doing. Like I literally had never been to a gym like ever, like no kind of exercise. It was terrible. But within 6 months, I ran a half marathon.
Oh my gosh, from zero exercise at
Yeah, and I didn't
all?
actually even mean to run a half marathon. It was just everybody around me was encouraging me, right? And so my sister and a couple other people got me to sign up for these like organized runs and walks and things like that, just to do something healthy. And it was you could do a 5K or 10K or a half or a full marathon. It was this great big thing, and I really hadn't even started running yet. Like it was really out there. And my sister was a fast walker, if you will. And I couldn't really walk with her and her daughter because they were like fast walking. And I was like, I'm just going to run ahead, and I will obviously run out of gas very shortly. And then you will catch me with your fast walking. But it was, like I said, it was this full marathon. And there was this pacer group, and it was in Nebraska. And I had a Kansas Jayhawk t-shirt on. And this pacer group started calling me Jayhawk. And they're encouraging me. And I stayed with that pacer group all the way to the half marathon point. I just stayed with.
So did you like sign up for the 5K and just kept
I don't
going?
remember what I signed up for. To tell you the truth. But I ended up doing more and more and more. And finally, after a third half marathon, I decided that my knees had low miles, but they couldn't take that kind of activity. So I kind of scaled it into more swimming and bicycling and that kind of stuff, and have modified it over the years. I'm now a gym class. I like group fitness class.
Okay. What's your favorite type of class to do?
It's any other group fitness classes. It's like a community. We all kind of look out for each other. All the instructors know that my goals are don't get hurt, don't get hurt, don't get hurt. That's literally my goals because I want to be able to do them I call it going out strong. I want to be going strong until the end. Nobody gets a forever card, but I'm planning
Right.
to take like exercises every day that I don't have a conflict, which is most, for the rest of my life. So anything that I can do to just avoid, a good, bad form, doing something that I'm not capable of and messing it up, because I have gotten hurt a few times over the years, and that's what my goal is, to avoid those.
And I mean, it happens here and there. We bend over wrong, or we, lift wrong or something like that. And these things happen. And, I say sometimes I used to be a runner, and my knees decided that they were done with running. So I don't run anymore. And I will joke to my husband, it's like, if I just sat on the couch, I probably wouldn't have as many like aches and pains all the time as I do exercising every day. And he said, no, but you would have a whole different set of problems if you didn't do that. So it's kind of a balance there.
Yeah, certainly. Like I feel like I'm at the best point of my day every day when I get done with my gym class. Like, because I'm like, it's as much mental health as it is physical health for me. The idea of not doing it
100%.
sounds terrifying. Like, if when I go on vacation, I've got to figure out a way to incorporate it. Like, I have to. Like, if I don't, watch out, I'll get all grumpy and stuff.
Hey, I have a Planet Fitness membership, and Planet Fitness is in almost every town in America, and I can almost always find one, even when I'm on vacation, to go and work out.
Yeah.
Or if I'm in Florida visiting my family, I go for a run or a walk on the beach, or just something, so I get my movement in. Because my husband will tell you, and a lot of people will tell you, I'm much nicer to be around when I've had my exercise for the day.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
Gosh, I love to hear that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So it looks like so tell me about how you found or decided to start the Prostate Network.
Well, it didn't start out with, we're going to start the Prostate Network. It started out with me sitting in church pleading, this can't be it. Oh my God, I have a 13-year-old son. I have to be here for him. This can't be the end. And then also, what would become my best friend in the world, he was doing the same thing over in his black church. And I was kind of a privileged white guy in white church. And he was doing the same thing. And we had met, and we were sharing our journey together, supporting each other. And about a year in, we confided in each other that we had both done those pleadings, and we were still here. And we were like, okay, so now what are we going to do? And so we really didn't know what was going on. There wasn't really any place for us to go. And so we decided, we might be the only two. We literally didn't know how widespread our problem was. But we knew we weren't the only ones. So we decided that we wanted to try to create a safe space for those behind us to go. So, because we felt like it was random luck. It was that we had kind of got things going. And we were like, let's not make this random luck. Let's see what we can do. And so we started in a library. We did a couple of different things, and very well received. And there was an event. It was called the National Cancer Survivor Day Rally. It was a big thing in a park here. They're all over the globe now. But it was started by a gentleman here in Kansas City, and this lady that was running it put it together, and we happened to be there. And a lady who had worked with the Gilda's Club organization to bring one of those places to Kansas City saw what we were doing, and she suggested that I go down there and tell the lady who was running it that she sent me, and they should put us on the calendar and give us a room. And we did. And we are planning to stay with them for the rest of our time here on Earth. So we have this great partnership, and they are a fantastic organization, and it's allowed us.
And what is this organization?
It's part of the cancer support community. It's called the Gilda's Club. It was
Okay.
so the story was, and I'm probably gonna not tell it completely right, but Gilda Radner was a Saturday Night Live star, and she got cancer at a really young age, and it was, I
She did.
guess, it was deadly. And she had already became, she was super successful. She was a star, and she had her like Saturday Night Live Millions. And she told her husband to use her money to make sure that nobody had to face cancer alone. And he kept his word, and he used her money to do that. And we always wondered why he didn't like after we found out who it was Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka, and he never really did anything to. He used the money, but because he had got dementia, and so it was what a sad story that was. But he did it, and they prospered. And I don't know whether it started out as part of the cancer support community, but it is now, and they're all over the country.
That is fantastic. I loved Gilda Radner and Gene Wilder both. They were both phenomenal people. And I love people who just do things, and don't do it for the recognition or the fame. And, you think of Dolly Parton with her Imagination Library, where she gives books to, all little kids and stuff without any thought to like, praise me kind of thing. And I know Gene Wilder was the same way, which is beautiful.
Yeah. And it's still going on. We're super pleased to be able to work with them and be part of all of it.
And so you have meetings, right? Your Prostate Network does different meetings?
Yeah, it's evolved a little over the years. We used to be in person. There was no concept of an online thing. But we figured out the online pretty early in COVID, because we had the right people with the right tech skills. And then when we came out of COVID, we experimented with how can we not lose our online audience and then get back to the people in person. Because see, my best friend Caesar, who we started with, he passed away before COVID was cleared. And all these people, so we got together before we were supposed to, because we had a service. We had to show our respects. And so we went back. We might have been the first one in the country to go back, because we were like, we're just not afraid. We have to do this. We have to be there. And so it's always now first Wednesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. We don't ever skip, because there's no excuse for snow anymore. The only time that we've ever really had a legitimate excuse was when the Royals were in the World Series. And we don't think the odds are very good anytime soon, but we're hoping. But we don't miss. It's sort of like, Boy Scouts Monday night, church Sunday, Prostate Network's first Wednesday.
How are the Royals doing this season so far?
Respectable. Yeah, we beat the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies, I think, are 6-28 right now, so that's not really saying a whole lot for the Royals.
Yeah, and we've done a bunch of events. So we like to go out in the community, and what we found is that we can't be the event. Like, everybody wants us to talk to people about health and men's health and stuff like that. If you want to make sure that you hold an event where nobody's going to show up, go on ahead and just say, hey, come on over here and let's talk about men's health. They're not going to come. So what we do is we hijack events. And one of our favorites, and we've been very fortunate to coordinate it with our NCI hospital and with the Royals, is to hijack a baseball game. And it'll be like the 7th time we're doing it, and we're doing it this summer when the Royals play the Yankees on June 11th. We're going to go out there.
So what does that mean, you hijack the game?
So we'll have a table with guys and men's health info as they enter the stadium. And on the calendar, it says it's Prostate Day at the K. And there'll be all sorts of different stuff during the game, at the beginning of it. And we'll have group seating. So if you knew a survivor, like your dad, let's say, is a survivor, he's probably not going to want to go to a cancer meeting, right? It's a hard thing for guys to do. It's a hard sell. But go to the ball game, yep. And if you happen to pick the right game and the one that has the section where you can sit with us, then all of a sudden he's not alone. He's going to find out there's other survivors, and he can hear about our resources. And then all of us together, we like to do more than just sit around and talk about cancer. And so for all of us to get together and go to a ball game is like fun. We like to have fun. And so this is one of our kind of fun days. That's one of our funnest days really ever, every year.
That is lovely. I mean, you need to make it fun because, you got enough of it being awful and scary and all of that. I mean, you got to have the flip side of it as well and be able to, enjoy
Yeah,
life, especially if you're a
yeah,
survivor.
and it's something, because it doesn't affect just you, it affects the whole family. And so this is a
Mhm.
family outing. And then the other thing that I really watched over the years, and I love about it, is you see nurses who cared for patients, and they're going to be out there, and they get to meet their families, and not when they're dealing with cancer
Mhm.
care, right? And the doctors and their kids, and we all interact, and we become like we. It's like it breaks down barriers to do something outside of the cancer center. And this is where we do it. We do it
Yeah,
at the ballpark.
I love that. And I love there are more and more organizations, that are doing things like that. There's Man Up to Cancer and like things like Epic Experience and stuff where you just get out of oh, let's sit around and talk about cancer and actually, do things and make those human connections versus cancer connections.
Yeah, yeah, because that's the thing that these guys that get cancer and they connect with us, there's so much more than their cancer, and we all become friends and we all look out for each other and try to have each other's back. That's what it's all about. That's what we're all about. So, and people who've already
Because
gone through it are
I
so
think
skilled at helping the others because I think everyone feels like they're on the edge of the cliff when they get diagnosed. And some really are, like truly are, right? But many of them are not. Many of them. And so if you have others who have gone through it, spend time with them. There isn't a guy that comes to one of our meetings that's been around the block for a while that wouldn't buy anybody that's newly diagnosed a coffee or give out a phone number and be there.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the beautiful thing about this cancer community in general is everybody that I've talked to, really feels the same way. It's like they want to help other people. They want you to not feel alone. They want to help in any way that they can. And I know for men, a lot of times that's an issue to really reach out for help or to admit that you need help. They just kind of want to be stoic and go through it alone. But there are so many resources for people, so you don't have to, because it's terrible to have to go through something like this alone.
Yeah, I feel like men handle it very different than women. Women are
Yep.
naturally going to be more open and sharing with their circles, and their circles are usually larger and stronger. And um, and the guys, they're okay. You can kind of get away with not really nurturing that stuff through big parts of life, but not when the hard stuff hits like this. You really need
Mhm.
that. And I feel like when we were at the male breast cancer where we met, I thought that was progress. Like, we've got men getting together. The Prostate Network, we're doing it. You're talking about some of the other. There are things now that didn't exist, and it's wonderful to see. I feel like we are making real
I know.
progress.
I absolutely love it. And now you mentioned before we started that you have an app as well.
Yeah, so that was kind of a dream I had for a long time. We call it stacking the deck in your favor. So and it's a matter of diet and exercise, right? So if you get cancer, it's pretty much a given that you need to make some changes, right? It's just a given.
God going, hey, wake
There's
up.
maybe a few, but we tell everybody, we have advice as far as how do you come up with a treatment plan and how do you do that kind of stuff. But once you kind of work your way through, here's where I'm going to get treated with, and where I'm going to get treated. Then you kind of just have to lay there and take it, right? You got to take your cancer treatment, but you can take and really radically change your whole experience with diet and exercise. So I don't believe there's a man or a woman, anybody who gets told they have cancer that doesn't go through a round of depression. You may not recognize it, but it's going to happen. This is depressing, right? The number one and two things you can do for your mental health, diet and exercise. number one and two things you can do to combat the side effects of your cancer treatment: diet and exercise. And so we call it stacking the deck in your favor. And so what we wanted to do was to kind of we push this, right? And we've got disciples and people that swear by it. They've done it, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm an example. But I'm far from alone." And so what we wanted to do was we give gifts to survivors. That's our goal too. So whenever we have the opportunity to either meet someone or we meet someone who knows someone, we're like, okay, take them this gift. Let them know that we care. And so we've been trying to give things away to sort of connect them to our stuff, but also to just let them know we care. And so the ultimate thing I had in mind we wanted to give away was this app, kind of packaging that together, packaging the motivation, experts telling you why it's important, and then customizing, because not everybody is in the same space, right? So if you aren't doing anything and you're going to do some basic, banded exercises, right? So let's show them that. If you're a gym rat, let's put them on like a leaderboard, let's let them compete. And then the diet too, like everybody can use a little advice on diet. Like I'm still learning, what is protein? How much protein do you get? Like, I don't know. Hold on. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we're just now getting ready to launch it. We're in our final testing phase right now. And that is our goal, is to continue to refine those important messages over time with an app and integrate that into our meetings. So like once or twice a year, bring people together that use those interventions and have them come together and talk about it, and talk about what was important, what might not have been so important, and really kind of refine that over time. So I don't think of it as artificial intelligence. I think it's real intelligence. So we're basically trying to put experts, we've used experts to try to come up with the best content we could, but then over time, continue to refine it. Just refine it and refine it and refine it. That's the vision that I've got for our app.
I love that. I think we all need any kind of help that we can get, motivating, accountability, like anything. I say 90% of my clients hire me strictly for accountability. Just somebody who's there, is going to make sure that they show up for their workouts and, helps push them through the hard times. So if you can have an app that'll do that for free or a low charge, that's even better.
Everything that we've ever done is free, and there's nothing that we've ever done that should ever be copyrighted. Like if we come up with something that helps people, we want everyone else to just plagiarize the hell out of it.
That is lovely. I wish more people felt that way.
Well, the only reason we're doing it was because we wanted to try to, help others that came behind us. And when, eventually we turned it into a nonprofit, and I don't think there was a wiser soul than my best friend Caesar. He's had a heart of gold. And so we always just kind of looked at, what is our moral compass? And that's it guided all of our decisions over all these years. We're 15 years in now. And so, yeah, anything that we do has to be free, and it has to be heartfelt and just meant to just help people. There's no other alternative. There's no motive other than that for any reason why we do anything.
I love that. And I have my little cell phone holder that I got from you guys that I keep on my desk, and I love it. It helps to remind me
That's
as
our
well.
latest one. It's nice.
It is very nice, and I mean it's metal. It's good quality there.
Yeah,
I love it.
Our meeting is hybrid, and so we had these iPads going around the table, kind of a big round table, and so we wanted to give something good away because we finally got our app project, and we're like, okay, oh my gosh. So I wasn't happy with like the promotional kind of stuff. Like it was like, no, that's not enough quality here. No, that's junk. That's junk. And so finally, I just actually wrote the manufacturer of the nicest products that we had that we were using. And I said, hey, we're using your stuff and we're doing this. would you customize one for us? And they're like, you want to do what? And I said, I want to customize it. And so we worked with them. And yeah, so that's what it was.
Love that. Yes. And prostate cancer is something that is truly on the rise. And so the more, as with every cancer, so the more we can get the word out about it and about these kind of support groups and stuff, the better.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because support is everywhere. It's just a matter of getting people to open up and talk in their community. My favorite thing is if I get like a chance to talk. I had a chance with the food inspectors last week. They invited me. They had a convention, and one of their guys got prostate cancer, and so they wanted to give the talk, and so I gave them the talk, about getting their physicals and that kind of stuff, and I said, "Does anybody here, have anybody here dealt with prostate cancer?" And I said, "And anybody, someone close to you?" And over half the room raised their hands. There was like 100 people in the room and like half the room. And I was like, all right, I said, don't put your hands down. So I used the phone holders to give them a gift so they wouldn't put their hands down. And then as I'm passing them out, I told them, I said, now I know you guys all know each other. Like, I don't know any of you, but you guys all came to here together to be together for, your conference. You're going to be friends. Now support each other. This is it. There's your circle of support.
I love that. That is beautiful. And yeah, I mean, and if nothing else, if you go for a physical, just get your PSA checked. Like that's just a baseline. Hey, let's just check this. And then, you can go from there if it's elevated. But I mean, that's just something easy that can be done with your annual physical blood work.
Yes. We called it the race to get men to get fit and get physicals because sadly, even though the survival rates are nearly 100% when it's caught early, 33,500 men will die of prostate cancer in the United States this year. And it basically boils down to that they aren't getting their physicals because they're not catching it. There's a lot of not staying fit too, but the physical, so the guys have to just do it, and not when they're sick, not when their knee hurts, because if they go to the doctor and they make an appointment, they're like, why are you making an appointment? That's because I got a fever. Then guess what? They're going to treat the fever, and that's it. You have to make an appointment. And I like to tell them that, you may get 2, maybe 3 new trucks in your life, but you're only going to get one body. And you better take better care of your body than you do your new truck. You would not drive your new truck around without having it, oil change, tire checked, everything, every 3,000, 5,000, whatever it is now. But, you do that with your body, you're just playing with fire. Like you're going to blow up the engine on your new, beautiful, shiny truck. You won't do that, but they'll do that with their bodies. And it's like, oh, no, don't do that. I tell them also, like they have ladies who, like I'm on him, he won't do it. Tell him he's selfish. Say, I love you, and I don't want to have to sit and watch this. I can't do that. You can't do that to me. So just tell him, motivate him somehow, get him to go. And we need you ladies to
even shame if you have to, shame and guilt.
We clearly are sucking at it, right? Our graph is still headed in the wrong direction. The ladies keep getting longer survival, catching them early. Men, we're still headed in the wrong direction. So please, everyone, get after them.
We just got to keep sharing. All right. So tell me about male.
I just think that's a great term. If you can remember one thing from this episode, MALE, men are leaving early. Men are leaving or dying 7.5 years earlier than women. And I am not a doctor, but I know we have fewer working parts. We are simpler creatures. There's no reason we should not outlast you. And so I feel like, remember male, like our team has got to turn that around. There's no reason. There's no excuse for it. And we're so competitive. Surely we could figure this out, right?
Compete with the ladies, right? All right, we're not going to leave that much. We're not going to leave 7 years earlier.
7.5 years is what we're doing right now. That's like the whole retirement window, man. Yeah, we're doing all the work and then just heading off, let you ladies go blow it. So I'm planning to stick around.
Good. That's good to hear. All right. So I asked this of all of my guests. So if you had one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's just been diagnosed or just starting down this avenue and may feel very overwhelmed by their diagnosis or what's ahead of them, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to someone?
Slow down and get comfortable with what you're going to do. So there's no do-overs with a cancer treatment, right? Once you said you're going to do it, you're going to do it. It's done. So what I think the best advice is, you don't want to like ignore your cancer, but you do want to slow down, because you don't necessarily need to do something today. You need to do something, but you don't need to do it today, or you don't need to do it this week, but you need to do it. And so what you need to do is, and it varies by person, it varies by the health of that person, the how they think. There's so many factors, but some people can have a level of trust with a doctor right away. Yep, that's the plan. This is what I'm going to do. And if that's what they can do, and then they have that level of trust, fantastic. Go with it. If they need to talk to two of them, they need to talk to three of them, they need to get on an airplane, do that. But get comfortable with what your plan is. And then you go in and you never look back. You never have any regrets on what your decision is. And if you do that and you have that level of trust and confidence, I think you get the best possible outcome. I think it really matters. I think that slowing down and getting confident is my best advice.
I love that. Yeah, when I turned down, so chemotherapy was recommended to me for my cancer, and I prayed about it and I thought about it and I meditated about it, and I decided that it wasn't what I thought that I needed. And I had a long conversation with my oncologist, and the last thing she said was, okay, if 3 years from now you're in here with metastatic breast cancer, are you going to regret the decision that you're making today? And I could 100% said, absolutely not. Like, that's another conversation down the road if that happens. But right now I don't regret making this decision. And she said, okay, fine. I have nothing else to say. And we'll go with, what you want to do. So absolutely. Yeah. Because regrets, they're never good for anybody.
Yeah, I remember I've asked a lot of people, what they had for advice. I've asked survivors if they had advice. I've asked caregivers if they had advice. And this is, I think, an important one. Men express fear as anger. And so on behalf of all men who have gone through cancer, we're sorry, we love you, to all of their families, because they probably expressed their fear in ways that were not very appropriate. It's just sadly true. And it's just sad, but we'll try to get.
Well, and it's similar with men as caregivers too, because they're afraid for their wives or their children or whatever, and they get angry as well.
I hadn't thought about it. Yeah,
just men in general.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, so you're apologizing on behalf of all fearful, angry men.
Yeah, because it's at least a start, because I talked to lots of people about this stuff, and that is just one of the things that keeps coming up. Is they are like, the doctor solved my guy's cancer, but I kind of lost him, and it's because he didn't seek the kind of support and help that he needed, or he expressed things and built some walls and stuff like that, and that stuff's got to be torn down. We've got to get that stuff fixed, because it's not. Cancer is just a word. It's not who you are. And so just because you got cancer and you beat it, you've got to clean all that other stuff up too.
Well, and I think that helps emphasize the importance of men being able to get together in support of each other to kind of bring accountability and call people out on that, because you'll hear it from another man. You're not going to hear it from your wife that you're being a jerk, Yeah. I
appreciate what you're doing.
Right, well,
the idea of exercise and cancer, and exercise, it is the medicine. It is my favorite medicine. I mean, it doesn't replace modern medicine, but it has to be included. I believe everyone, some people might not want to do it, but we should at least make sure everyone knows how important it is. And I am convinced that that it makes a massive difference. I don't think I would be here without it. And I think I'm going to actually live longer and healthier because I got cancer. Because if I would not have gotten hit over the back of the head, as I describe it, I don't think I would have been able to make the changes that I did. But I did. Yeah. And so now I think I'm going to end up with more quality and longer, like everything. I think I'm going to end up better. Sad. It's super weird, but I believe that to be true.
I've heard that from so many people, that it was the impetus to change your life, and you're going to live longer because of it and live healthier.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Steve. This was such a great conversation and so important for so many people out there, for the men and for the women in their lives, to help them to get checked and be healthy.
Melissa, thank you for everything you're doing. It was an honor to be on your show.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.